And this is where MAGA comes to talk. All right. So Ron DeSantis being reported today, uh, and Ron DeSantis, of course, became governor because Trump endorsed him the first time, and then he turned out to be a big traitor running against him. And there's a story. It's in Mediaite. It's being reported in many other places. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis told GOP donors at a private retreat over the weekend that he will help fundraise for Donald Trump, according to a report from CNN. During the GOP primary, Trump mocked DeSantis with a variety of nicknames, including Ron DeSanctimonious, and of course we, you know, talked about his high heels and everything, which is all true. It goes on here. The retreat occurred at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, and that, of course, is the Seminole Indian tribe of Florida, and it's here in South Florida, where major fundraisers met with DeSantis along with former finance committee members for his campaign. Per CNN, the retreat was held the same weekend that Trump's campaign announced $50 million in donations in Mar-a-Lago. It was $50.5 million, by the way. Texas businessman Roy Bailey is a donor who attended the retreat, and he said he is, meaning DeSantis is committed to helping Trump in any and every way. We're going to follow his lead, meaning DeSantis's lead. Welcome to the street. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, and everyone who's already subbed, please like the video. Yes. He says DeSantis is committed to helping Trump in any and every way. We're going to follow his lead. We're excited to do everything we can to get Trump elected. Well, I want to do everything to get Trump elected. But my question to you, you can let me know in the live chat or in the comments if you're watching later, do you trust Ron DeSantis? What's he doing here? Is Ron DeSantis interested in helping Trump, or is Ron DeSantis trying to get some credibility back, having realized he's unelectable forever and that he betrayed all of us? I think he's trying to save his ass, but, that's just me. The donor at this DeSantis event went on to say, if we can unlock and motivate our donors for Trump and put more fuel in his tank, that's what we want to do. That's what we need to do to make sure Biden is not reelected. All these DeSantis people, if they were so concerned with Biden not getting reelected, why did they back this bozo, Ron DeSantis? And, I get a lot of negative comments from conservatives here on YouTube who leave me comments saying, you say DeSantis is a loser, and DeSantis is that, and he's a great governor. Listen, DeSantis is my governor. He's done some good things lately, there's no doubt about it, but he's not as great of a governor as people think, all right? During the lockdowns and shutdowns, he had the northern border of Florida, he had it shut down, and you had to go through checkpoints if you were driving into Florida. He shut down spring break, DeSantis. He told spring breakers, don't come to Florida, they'll be arrested, all these things. Now, Florida did open up sooner than a lot of other places, there's no doubt about it. But the idea that he stood up to Fauci, that's revisionist history. But what DeSantis did was lie to Trump and lie to us who supported him here in Florida. And as soon as he got reelected, he betrayed Trump and all of us. And that's the way of it. There's no getting around it. And so, people that leave me messages telling, oh, DeSantis is a great guy. No, he's not. DeSantis was very happy trying to take that nomination from Trump and having him and then Nikki Haley run against Biden and lose, all right? So, in the last couple of weeks, he's done some good things, okay? In the last couple of weeks here in Florida, he's done some good things. I'm not going to knock him. He's, for us in Florida, he's done some good things, okay? If you have anyone try to move into your home rent-free well, they've committed a felony in Florida because of him, and it's a pretty severe felony. So he's, got a squatters law, which is very good. This is just in the last couple of weeks. The squatters law that DeSantis put through is very good. He also reduced our tolls on our toll roads on the Florida Turnpike, which is huge, because I drive on the Turnpike every day here in Florida, and it's expensive. Yeah, this is my backyard. I'm sitting on my back porch. It's beautiful today, as you can see behind me. So he's doing a lot of things to try to win us back. And he's not going to be the guy in 2028. At least I hope not, because, you can't trust this guy. You just can't trust this guy. Now, on the stream this morning, I was talking about this scheme that the Legal Thoughts Sidebar says if a person betrays once openly, he'll do it again. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I mean, and what DeSantis did was a complete betrayal, okay? It's not like when there's a primary, you have an open primary, meaning we don't have the incumbent. So it's not unusual for 5, 10, 15, 16 people to run for president in the same party in the primary. But we didn't have an open primary. Donald Trump is basically our incumbent, right? He's our incumbent. So, I'll never trust Ron DeSantis, and I don't think anyone should. And also, I haven't seen him on the campaign trail. With Trump. Have you? Charmaine says, I doubt Trump would trust him and embrace him again. Well, what he's thinking about DeSantis is, well, you can trust Pelosi to be Pelosi, right? I mean, you could trust based on her, you know what Pelosi's all about. So in a way, you could trust Pelosi more than you could trust DeSantis, right? Does that make sense? I think it does. Now, I was talking on the stream this morning about how the Uniparty are using this abortion issue against Trump. And even today, I saw Trump in Atlanta. He got off the plane, had a little press conference. I was watching on Right Side Broadcasting, and it was very good. And they asked him point blank, is the Arizona law gone too far? And Trump said yes. And I told you, this what I was talking about this morning. The Democrat and Republican establishment, the Uniparty, this Arizona abortion law from, 1848 or whatever it is, when they were still a territory, is serving a lot of purposes. One, it puts Trump in a, and this has happened to Carrie Lake, right, too. So Carrie Lake, because it's Arizona, she's running for the Senate in Arizona, it's put Carrie Lake and Donald Trump in this position to say this law to stop abortion, because we're pro-life. Carrie Lake's pro-life, President Trump's pro-life, I'm pro-life. If you're MAGA, conservative, you're pro-life too, right? It's put pro-life people like Trump and Carrie Lake in a position where they have to say a law restricting abortion is too strict, so there should be abortions in some cases. So that's a way to try to get evangelicals not to support Trump. So that's one purpose it serves. Another purpose it serves for the Uniparty is strict abortion issues on ballots, and in states like this Arizona law will get they'll get their feminist abortion obsessed people more motivated to go and vote. And then I was talking to my wife Kathy earlier, and she had a third thing which I thought was spot on. My wife said also this old law in Arizona they're bringing back on abortion, which is very strict. I mean, it's not just the doctors and the women who could be prosecuted. Anyone who partakes in the abortion could be prosecuted for murder. So that could be the receptionist at the clinic. It could be the nurse. It could be, and I said earlier, it could be the Uber driver or the boyfriend or the husband that drives the woman to get the abortion. So my wife said a third thing it does is it's trying to scare these leftists about what America will be like with Trump. We're going to have these old laws from from the old West, and so it's really I'm really pissed about it because it's having some impact in the short term these days. Michael Todd says we have a Chinese president. Yeah, we do have a Chinese-controlled president, that's for sure. So listen to this. So Kamala Harris is heading to Arizona Friday, just days after the state Supreme Court ruled a 1864 law, 64, I said 48, an 1864 law banning nearly all abortion could be enforced. Kamala has been a leading figure in the Biden administration advocating for abortion rights. Yeah, I bet. The White House announced Kamala would be traveling to Tucson later this week. And I don't know what she's going to do there when she gets there, but they're sending her there. The White House said the visit by Kamala would be to continue her leadership in the fight for reproductive freedom. Her fight for reproductive freedom. Now, I will tell you that women, with abortion being outlawed, have almost all the control with reproductive freedom, okay? First off, it's women, not men, who decide if there's going to be sex, right? If it were up to the men be having sex all day, every day with as many people. Women are in charge of that. Women decide who has sex in this country, okay? More so than men. Do you guys agree with that, by the way? Except for some extreme circumstances. So I think women, more than men, are most definitely in control of reproduction. And that's, by the way, not just in the United States. That's most of the world. So this thing about reproductive freedom, I mean, come on. And yeah, exactly. I mean, that may sound extreme to people, but it is true. Now, of course, there's not reproductive freedom in Gaza, where the White House, where Kamala and the Democrats are supporting these Palestinians that have kidnapped countless women from Israel that they're raping without mercy and have been for 6 months. Now, those Israeli women being held by the terrorists, they don't have reproductive freedom, but those are the ones, the terrorists are the ones in Gaza that Kamala Harris and the Democrats want us to have sympathy for. So are they for reproductive freedom or not? I guess they're not if you're an Israeli woman. Goes on here. This is Kamala's second trip to Arizona this year, her fifth since being vice president. Last month, she visited Phoenix to highlight how extremists in states across the country have proposed and enacted abortion bans that threaten women's health, force them to travel out of state to receive care, and criminalize doctors, the White House said. If you are in a position where you can travel to another state to have an abortion, and notice they don't say abortion here, they say reproductive care, receive care. They're using code words, right? They're to receive care. If you have the ability to travel to another state for an abortion, you have the ability to either care for that child when it's born, or how about this? Carry the child to term, give birth, and give the child up to a loving family that wants it for adoption. How about that? And there's, you guys hear me talk a lot. My daughter's adopted. My mother is adopted. So I'm a big, advocate for adoption. And no one, when they talk about all these things, they don't talk about adoption ever. You don't see it in any of the stories or any of the dialogue. No one talks about adoption. And it's really unfortunate, honestly. Adoption should be, that's why I talk about it so much. To promote it. Adoption is not difficult, it's not expensive like they want you to think, and it's a great thing. But no one talks about it. And, back in 1973 when the Roe decision came, and before that, there was so many things were different then compared to now. They want to bring back Roe v. Wade. First, medical science has advanced light years. It's been 50 years, 51 years. So babies are viable outside of the womb much earlier than they were in 1973 because of the advancements in medical technology. But also, the stigma to out-of-wedlock birth that used to exist prior to Roe v. Wade, that's gone in this society. No one cares. unless you're a wife who's screwing around and you get pregnant, you know. Like if you're screwing around while your husband's deployed, like, you know, yeah, like you know who did, and you get pregnant, you know, then you might, you know, you might have a problem. But other than that, there's basically no stigma to out of wedlock pregnancy anymore. So many of these things that they base, you know, this important decision on in 1973 don't apply today, and it's, you know, nobody talks about these things, you know. I mean, and look at this. Here's Joy Reid. She's got on the that Trump wig that she likes to wear all the time. Let me see if I can play this. Hold on. This is Joy Reid. This is from her show yesterday. She is talking about you know, the Arizona ruling and everything. Let me see if I can play this for you guys.
Has been crafting a plan in the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025 that would circumvent and leverage the regulatory powers of federal institutions, including the Department of Health and Human Services, the Food and Drug Administration, the Department of Justice, and the National Institutes of Health.
And she's showing a headline in the New York Times that says, Trump allies plan new sweeping abortion restrictions.
Here's what Severino said when the Supreme Court ended abortion access.
The federal government has an absolute role in this. There cannot be now two Americas. One America where unborn life is protected and another where unborn life is treated as the equivalent of medical waste.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
Is untenable. This has to be settled nationally. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Yeah. We can't have two classes of Americans.
Yeah, now that's the guy from the Heritage Foundation. He's, you know, a lot like Lincoln. Lincoln, the country can't survive half slave, half free, or half free, half slave, whichever way he said it. What the Heritage Foundation is saying is, we can't have a divided nation where an unborn child is a valuable life in this state. In the state next door, that unborn child is considered medical waste. He's right about that. I agree. That's, you know, the pro-life position is winning out, of course.
Well, it's pretty grotesque, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
For this man to pimp the civil rights era and even the Lincoln legacy as an excuse to further restrict women's constitutional rights across the land, which is exactly what he intends to do. It's all laid out in a lengthy Heritage Foundation proposal that would require renaming HHS the Department of Life, ending access to mifepristone, prohibiting stem cell research, and creating a pro-life task force in the White House, among many other things. So when Donald Trump pretends that he has no negative agenda for women, know that he is lying to you. It's not what he says, but what he and the people he's going to bring with him plan to do. Two incredibly accused sex pests on the Supreme Court decide that you don't have rights over your...
Accused sex pest on the Supreme Court?
Sex pests on the Supreme Court decide that you don't have rights over your own body. States are passing laws to make it harder for women to get access to things like education and grants and business grants, trying to drive women back into the kitchen, and then saying you also can't control your own reproduction.
Oh, my goodness. You know, Joy Reid here, she's talking like out of the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And you know what? She's very well aware of this. You know, over on MSNBC, what they do is just whatever the party line is. That's all they're going to do. Whatever the party line is, that's what she's going to say. That's how she's going to promote it, regardless of what the reality of the situation is. And you know, I agree with what President Trump said today, and you know, I agree and I know you guys do too. And what President Trump said today should be up to the states. And let me tell you, you know, I would like every state to be very pro-life, because I am 100% pro-life. I'm opposed to abortion. In rape and incest cases too. Okay, it's not the baby's fault that it was conceived out of rape or incest. It's no less of a life because it was conceived that way. Yeah, right? Is it less of a life if it was conceived in the backseat of a car or through the first night of a beautiful wedding? That, you know, it's you know, you don't dehumanize a person because of these other factors, in my opinion. But it's up to the states. That's always been the conservative position. I do agree with that. But if you don't like the laws in one state because it's gotten too conservative to you, move. And, in a way, that might make the country a better place. Maybe we're too diverse of political opinions in our states because, years ago, people in a state pretty much thought the same. And, when I live in a, beautiful place like Florida, and you have so many people want to move to Florida from all these blue states, they bring their Democrat blue state ideas here, and that causes us problems. Bella says, can I get a shout out? Absolutely. Bella Santiago, I'll give you a shout out. Hey there, welcome to the stream. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. Okay, this is the most pro Donald Trump MAGA place you'll find anywhere, not just on YouTube, but anywhere. You'll love my content. I live stream every day. In the mornings, I live stream when I'm on the radio. I take live calls. I also upload my podcast here. So, yeah, but you can see already they're taking the abortion issue and they're running with it. And it's really an issue that I want us to be able to stay away from. I mean, that's just me. And I think most MAGA people think, because, and, typically I wouldn't say that. But right now, what's at stake during this election is more important than any election that any of us alive today have faced, because the decision in this election in November is going to be whether or not the United States survives as a free country with the culture that we were all born into in the United States, or are we going to be replaced by a peasant class from Latin America, and this is going to be a Marxist country led by fascists, right? So this election is so important, beyond what all the other elections of our lifetime were in their importance combined. Because if Trump doesn't win in November, this country is lost. And I think most reasonable people would agree with that, because as I keep telling you, if Trump does not win in November, these creepy Marxist Democrats will take that as a mandate, and everything that's happening now is going to happen 10 times at the rate it's happening now, because they'll think they got a mandate. And you know what? They will, because they would control everything. Trump wins, there's still time to stop what they're doing and roll it back. And, I'm confident in Trump's victory. I really have no worries. I love how they brought on these undecided voters today on MSNBC with Morning Joe. And, usually this is an unusual thing for undecided voters, because the undecided voters that they always make such big deals about annoy me a lot. And, the thing with the undecided voters is typically they're a bunch of narcissists who want people to beg them for their vote. What do you think? How can we get you to support us? But this panel was a little different. And so Mika and Joe, they brought on these undecided voters, and it didn't quite go the way they expected.
The undecided voters were also asked how they think President Biden is doing on the economy. Take a listen.
I think he's been absolutely disastrous for the economy.
I agree.
Raise your hand if you think President Trump's policies on the economy would be better for your family personally. Raise your hand. All right, so that...
And everyone, including the Muslim woman, raised their hand that their personal economy would be better with Trump back in office.
Your family personally. Raise your hand. All right, so that is everybody.
Yeah, I mean, they had a Muslim woman, a black woman, and even the black woman and the Muslim woman raised their hand and said their personal financial situation would be better with Trump in office. Isn't that, what Trump did was, with the economy, is amazing. And, he is, of course, an economist, right? He's got that degree from that incredible business school. He took a $1 million loan, turned it into billions of dollars. And during the shutdowns and lockdowns, when the economy of the world was shut down, he still kept the economy together. If the economy of the world shut down now with this idiot, corrupt creep that's running the country now, we would be in a Great Depression. And I don't know how he did it, Donald Trump, but he kept the economy together, which is a miracle, isn't it? Absolutely. And even through all of that, people are saying they were doing better than when they've been doing in the 3.5 years of Biden. And you can see that based on, you know, the inflation. You know, everywhere you go, everything's more money. They're saying on average, groceries are 40% greater. That means in a lot of places, they're 50, 60% higher. And if it's an average of 40%, some of the items probably are 60 to 80% higher than they were. And there's no end in sight because you know what? Biden doesn't care. And the people around him don't care. They've got another agenda, right? And it's not an agenda to help the American people. Thanks, Jack. Yes, please, if you're new to my channel, subscribe. You will most definitely enjoy my content. And everyone who's already subbed, please like the video, because that helps too. Yeah, groceries are crazy expensive. I mean, it's scary. You know, I'm so glad my daughter's grown. You know, if I had a young child and young kids at home, with the price of groceries and everything, it'd be tough. And there are people making a lot of difficult decisions. Each bag of groceries is $25, yeah, or more, depending on what you have in it. You spend $200 to $300 a week with just two people. I don't know how much my wife and I spend on food each week or each month because I don't want to know. I was going to keep track so I could talk about it on the show, and I thought, no, that'll just depress me too much. I don't want to know how much groceries, and I also don't pay it. Every once in a while, I'll make a video on it, but I try not to pay too much attention to how much gas is either, because it'll just upset you. I mean, you know, and the Trump tax cuts will be expiring, and Biden's I'm only going to raise taxes on people who earn over $400,000 a year. Inflation is a tax. These are hidden taxes. The cost of everything going up is a tax, right? It's a hidden tax that people suffer through, and it's a heavy tax because it's a larger percentage of your income than what your taxes would be if your taxes were raised, probably, right? And, you know, but Democrats don't care. See, because Democrats believe that the middle class, working people, are stopping them from having complete 100% power and control. And they want to destroy the working class. They want to destroy the middle class. And they figure if they do and you become poor and you're dependent on them, you'll vote for them. That's all Democrats care about, is being in power, because they're thieves. You know, they have all these crooked deals like the war in Ukraine to steal money from the Treasury. So they can only do that if they're in power. So, you know, they're trying to make us poorer. And you know what? They're well aware that that's what they're doing. They don't care. You just canceled your Comcast cable, Beach Life says. It was $290. Now you only pay $90 a month. Whew. Kids for Trump, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, unfortunately, because of my work, I have to have as fast of internet as I can have. So these are things I don't pay attention to what the cost is because I just don't want to know. And I don't think I'm alone in that. Do you out there? Do you try not to realize how much things are costing? I mean, you know, like these Cokes are expensive. Coke has really gone up. And it used to be, oh, I'll get a Coke, I might drink half of it. But now it's so expensive, I finish the whole thing, you know, and I don't drink as many of them as I used to. You know, and you know what the Democrats would tell you is, well, yeah, but Coke is bad for you. You shouldn't drink so many of them. Well, maybe, but so what? You know, I mean, which is worse for me, this Coke or the Coke they found at the White House, right? Exactly. No, I like good old-fashioned Coke Classic. You only have internet. I have to have, I don't watch TV, but I have to have it in case there's breaking news. So I have to have access to all media forms and media outlets. Yeah, your body, your choice. That's right. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But this abortion thing will fade away because it's really this week in a way kind of a slow news week. And I know there's incidents happening and things are always going on and things like this. But when I say a slow news week, I'm talking about so far as the presidential election. The presidential election will really start to heat up over the summer during the conventions. Coke is as addicting to booze. I don't know about that, but I do like it. I most definitely like it. Oh, man. This article here says, the Biden campaign reveals new secret weapon they think can help them beat Trump in 2024. Now, if they're using weapon, is that violence? Top aides unveil the force to be reckoned with as Joe struggles in the polls. Oh, let me look and see what this is. Let's see. President Joe Biden's re-election campaign today unleashed a new organizing weapon in their arsenal. A lot of violent references there. In an effort to rally LGBTQ plus support for their campaign. Campaign manager Julie Chavez Rodriguez described LGBTQ plus voters as a secret weapon for Biden in the upcoming election. They'll be critical to winning. Now, when they say LGBTQ plus, what they really mean are trans people. And I'm of the opinion that most gay people don't like being thrown into this group of trans people. That's the kids in the pool next door. School's out, so they're partying in the pool, having a good time. It's Florida, man. So I don't think most gay people like being lumped in this basket with the transgender people. Do you? I don't think so. And how many transgender people are there to be a factor in any vote anywhere? They're probably not even a factor like in San Francisco. The Biden campaign released a new video featuring Kamala Harris urging LGBTQ plus voters to come out for Joe Biden. Harris praised Biden for elevating gay, lesbian, and transgender officials in his administration. Talked about Buttigieg and Jean-Pierre, Rachel Levine, Ned Price, who's a gay State Department spokesman, whatever. The video features old footage of Kamala talking at a Pride event in 2022. Yeah, okay. That's their secret weapon. I mean, how many trans people are there in the country? Really? How many? And then if you spread them out, how many are there per state? It's not enough. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, listen, what everything you're seeing from the Democrats, it's desperation. They're throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. They have no coherent strategy at all. Now, if you're new, make sure you subscribe. Everyone who's already subscribed, make sure you like the video, all right? My name's Brian. I'll see you tomorrow morning, all right, on the live stream, taking your calls. Thanks for watching, everyone.